Oh man, we got the one and only James Moses Black coming back on the show for his third time to talk about the latest film that he's been starring in, and that is Renfield with the one and only Nicolas Cage.
Yes, this interview is guaranteed to have you guys riding the emotional roller coaster up and down. It's got laughs, it's got chills, it's got thrills, it's got everything. I mean, we literally talk about everything that this guy's been doing since the last time he was on pre-pandemic and all the good stuff. All the good stuff.
I know, I'm super excited for everybody to hear that, but that's later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. What is up, everyone? Oh my goodness, you guys know it is episode 223. We're super
Yes.
excited to be back. You guys know your host with the most, myself, JLo Fantastic, and the one and only Mouth.
What's up?
Guys, before we tease the rest of the show, of course, be sure to leave a rating, leave a comment. Of course, tell us what you think about the show. Leaving a rating and a comment helps this show get seen by more people who enjoy entertainment news, especially those who are trying to break into it. We're trying to be that one-stop shop for everybody who just needs to be in the room where it happens and have that information to carry on that conversation. And that's what this show is all for. ITCAFpodcast is here to bring you everything that is going down in Hollywood.
Yes.
Man. But before we get this thing started, there is so much happening in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, did you hear?
Did you hear? The
There's a
writers
strike.
are on strike, guys. They're
Still.
happening. It's happening. Last time this happened was about 15 years ago, and it did last about 100 days. So we're anticipating around that again. So we'll see what happens. Of course, we have the latest news for you, so you can stay up to date in this. But of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, so you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant gear. You don't even have to buy the actual shirts, actual head or hats, anything like that. We also have mugs. We have anything and everything you need at crazyantmedia.com. That's why you need to be checking it out and following us at ITCAFpodcast and Crazy Ant Media to stay up to date with those promotional sales, so you know when you can get those items at a cheaper price.
Yes.
That is so very important. But like we've been teasing and talking about since last week, all over our social media platforms and anywhere and everywhere in conversations throughout day-to-day life, the WGA, guys, yes, that is right. They have gone on strike for the first time in 15 years. Like I said, they did fan out this week to walk the picket lines outside the major studios in LA, like Netflix, Disney, Paramount, all the good places. The new contract broke down just before 8 p.m. on Monday night as the WGA and Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers remain to fall apart on host of key issues. Now, the guild is said to the writers that they are facing an existential crisis brought about by the shift into streaming platforms and fewer television shows with lower residuals. Now, late night television shows were the first ones to be impacted by this. Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Late Show, Tonight, Last Night, or Late Night have all gone into reruns. So Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Conan, like all of these places have gone into just complete reruns because, you know, they are the first ones to be impacted. And Saturday Night Live, we will say that as well. So it's very interesting, man.
Yeah, I mean, without doubt. And we kind of anticipated this. What would streaming do to the industry? Would it be a good thing or a bad thing? We've been talking about this since the launch, way back in the day when we first started talking about on our show that Netflix was going to start getting some competition as the studios were all going to start launching their own streamers. And what would that do? Well, now we know it's not all good, and we're seeing the ramifications for that. So just to recap, what is the strike all about? Well, as he said, the AMPTP said that the primary sticking points for them are a guild proposal for a TV staffing minimum and a minimum number of weeks of employment on a TV show. The studios are not willing to entertain either of those ideas. The Guild is also seeking a rewrite of the streaming residual formula to account for international subscribers and to pay more for hit shows. But the studios are unwilling to give up viewership data. The Guild is also seeking sizable increases in minimum weekly rates for writer-producers, with a new tier that would be 25% higher than the minimums for story editors and executive story editors. Overall, the Guild estimated the cost of its proposals would cost the studios about $429 million per year. The Guild estimated that the studios are only willing to cough up about $86 million per year. Now, that's a considerable gap, guys. It's here's the thing, though. It's like the writers are pretty sure that the studios are trying to eliminate writers. They want to pay as little amount of people as possible to do the most work as possible, and basically get rid of writers. And it's insane how much these guys are like. They pretty much came to an agreement on the raise, the money that they wanted, but it's the battle between the residuals for having the writers room, a pre-green room. Will they be listed as producers? Because will they still be brought in to write during production? Because if you guys don't know, most writers are on set and making adjustments, and they get producer fees for that because they're part of the production. The studios want to eliminate all that. There's a lot of contention going on.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, people don't know, like you said, on set, but it also goes to post because there's a lot of ADR work that has to be done as well. So writers are involved through all of the production phases. So it's something that is very key and very vital to the entertainment industry and their products that they put out there. But those studios are not willing to compensate through all of those stages. So that is something that is very tricky and interesting to talk about. Now, the Writers Guild of America West also held a rally this week to demonstrate solidarity for other Hollywood unions in their collective contract battles against Hollywood's major employers. About 1,800 guild members attended the meeting at the Shrine Auditorium and heard from the WGA leaders about the reasons behind the strike. Now, the DGA begins negotiations next week on their contract, and SAG-AFTRA starts next month. Now, both of their contracts expire June 30th. The Teamsters have a contract in place through July 31st of 2024, so that gives them a whole nother year, and so it cannot go on strike just yet. But under their contract, Teamsters cannot be disciplined for refusing to cross established picket lines either. So, I mean, there's all of these different things. We have seen a lot of the unions stand together, especially the big one, SAG-AFTRA, has been out there picketing with the WGA. So that's really good to see. Everybody is on a united front. But like we've been saying, it's very important that everybody sticks together because they brought up some key examples like a Taylor Sheridan or an Aaron Sorkin who, basically like to write their stories by themselves. But it's good to have that writer's room as someone to fall back on so that they can experiment with different ideas because it definitely helps everyone in the long run. One, to stay employed, and to keep that level of pressure off of that single writer. So
Agreed. Now, the biggie with this thing, though, with this meeting and all of the unions kind of getting together and woohoo together, guys, June 30th. June 30th. That's like right around the corner. We could conceivably see SAG-AFTRA, the DGA, and the WGA all on strike at the same time.
Yeah.
No actors and actors, no directors, no writers. That's no Hollywood.
Yeah.
That. I mean, and that's a very conceivable possibility because this meeting shows they're all in unison. They're all standing together in solidarity with each other, meaning when their contracts come up, they're likely going to go the same route as the WGA because they're also, how many times have we heard about actors already talking about being digitally placed in the shows and not getting paid? How many times have we heard about they're not getting compensated for streaming shows that are being streamed in other areas? Wasn't included in their deal. The directors not getting compensated for the streaming rights to where if it's a full-length movie or if it's a show. I mean, they're already battling these type issues. So when their contracts come up, the fact that the WGA has started this ball rolling with we're not going to be okay with the streaming stuff and we're not going to be okay with this and this, it's very likely these other guilds are going to go right into unison with that. And that's terrifying. It is terrifying to think that the studios may have all three of these giant guilds on strike at the same time.
It really is. Yeah. And especially when you think about all of these, all this money that goes into the economy because of the entertainment industry and because of this stuff. So, I mean, we could potentially see that fall season be nothing but like reality competition shows because there just won't be any really scripted content. It is very interesting to see, and of course, this is going to develop for the future, so we will stay up to date on it. But it's something that needs to get resolved. That we need to come to some sort of compromise to where we can start getting back to work because all of these people, they want to work. This is their passion. This is what they do. It's not like they want to go on strike, but they also have morals. So they have to figure out how to balance all that out. And something else that I feel like is very necessary and that they are starting to talk about is a a convenience of the AI, like we were talking about a little bit. So there needs to be some sort of meeting every couple of months to talk about the status of AI and how it impacts the entertainment industry and how there should be a little shift in, this does this and that does that. So it's all very interesting. And like I said, we're gonna stay up to date with it, but it's a very fluid situation right now, and they're nowhere near agreeing right now.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, and I think the studios are not real because the studios are heavily using this. Well, we've got reality TV, we've got this, and we don't need writers for that. That's going to be fine. But you do need directors for that. And next month, if they go on strike in unison with WGA, you ain't going to have reality shows either, okay? Yeah. So you better get your shit together and figure this out because I'm just saying it's going to get ugly.
For sure.
All right, let's jump over to the Mouse House where they are set to have an extremely good month, y'all. It looks like that The Little Mermaid, which comes out in a couple weeks, is tracking to open well over $100 million. And the one that opened this week, we saw it. Did you see it? Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's blasting off at the box office for one final time, earning $17.5 million in previews for James Gunn's Volume 3 finale. It will expand into 4,450 theaters nationwide today. The newest entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe will take the box office crown after Universal's The Super Mario Brothers movie topped the charts for the last month. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is expected to bring in between $110 and $120 million in its opening weekend, which is in between the previous grosses of the other two films. Also directed by Gunn. Now, after opening in 47 international markets, Guardians 3 has so far made $35 million overseas going into today. The first Guardians of the Galaxy had $11.2 million in Thursday previews on its way to an opening of $94 million back in 2014. The sequel, 2017's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, reached $17 million in Thursday previews and landed at $146 million opening weekend. That's interesting, right? $146 million opening weekend with $17 million in Thursday previews. This one had $17.2 million, but they're only expecting $110 million.
Yeah.
That's that post-COVID, right? You're just not packing it out like you were back in the day.
Well, post-COVID and China. Remember, they're still not airing in China as well.
That's true. So
it's very interesting, man. I mean, especially for international. We're talking about that right now. But yeah, I really think it's going to do good numbers for the box office and for Marvel. It was a really good movie, and it feels like, Marvel. It does feel like Marvel.
Yeah.
And it's really like it brings it back home. Because I know a lot of people have been hating on Marvel a lot recently and about the storylines and everything. But this is a classic James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy film.
So. Oh, yeah. And I'm just going to say it. I'm going to go on record and say it. And this is nothing against anybody or anything or any kind of. I just want to say it. I personally thought the High Evolutionary was much more badass and scary than Kang.
Wow.
The way he was throwing people against the wall and using his power, and you were seeing him kill people in order to kill people, he was terrifying, which is what Kang the Conqueror is supposed to be. But we didn't see him kill shit like in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And so I thought High Evolutionary was terrifying, man.
There you go. There it is. First take. Hot take, man. Oh, my goodness.
Just saying.
But yes, go over to your local cinema and check out the new Guardians, man. It's definitely worth it. It does not feel like 2.5 hours.
No.
So there it is, man. There it is. Well, True Detective creator Nick Pilizzanto has signed on to write Marvel Studios' Blade film, which is interesting because this is reuniting him and Mashallah Ali, who starred in the 3rd season of the HBO crime series. Now, Blade boosts Oscar winner Ali as the title vampire slayer with Aaron Pryor and Delroy Lindo and Mia Goth along with the starry cast. Pre-production on the film is underway, and with Pilizzanto taking the writing duties, working from a draft of the script by Emmy nominee Michael Starbury. Now, which has been said to be a darker than most MCU movies, but I mean, we've been kind of tracking that over the past, like, whatever phase we're in. I completely forget.
Yeah.
Directed by Jan Dinamaji, who helmed White Boy Rick and the pilot of the Lovecraft Country series on HBO Max and HBO. The film is expected to begin filming in late May in Atlanta, so stay tuned for that. But it is hopeful, bringing in a new writer, because that's kind of been where everybody's been in limbo at with that one. So hopefully it does well.
Yeah, creative differences have been killing that thing so far. But
Yeah.
and darker in tone. That's where we want to see it, as long as there's a little bit of humor to lighten it up when it needs to be lightened up,
For
which I
sure.
think Blade can totally do.
Yeah.
Speaking of dark films that are hilarious with just enough humor to lighten things up, Deadpool 3. And apparently Rob Delaney's closed the deal to return for Deadpool 3, joining Ryan Reynolds' led ensemble of the threequel that Sean Levy will direct and produce for Marvel Studios. Now, Reynolds and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige will also produce. Delaney's character, as you guys might remember, Peter, joined Deadpool and Weasel as part of their mutant-heavy new team, X-Force, in Deadpool 2. Despite the fact that he was just a run-of-the-mill human with no powers or special skills to speak of. His agenda in the second film was to aid Deadpool in the rescue of young mutant Russell Collins, a.k.a. Fire Fist, from the Mutant Re-Education Center where he'd been abused. Other Deadpool veterans returning for the threequel, as previously reported, include Karen Sony, Leslie Ugamis, Morena Baccaran, and Stefan Kavachik, who respectively portray Deadpool's cab driver, sidekick Duppender, his roommate Blind Al, and his fiancee Vanessa, who in the sequel, if you remember, was killed and then revived. And of course, the Metallic Colossus. Newcomers to the franchise will include the man, Hugh Jackman, who reprises his role as, who's that guy that he played? Oh, yeah, Wolverine, Logan, The Crown's Emma Corrin, and Succession's Matthew McFadden will all be joining. Now, Deadpool 3 will be the first title in the franchise to involve Marvel boss Feige following Disney's acquisition of Fox, which released the first two installments. The film is slated for release on November 8th of next year. I cannot wait for this fucking film.
I think it's going to be great. I hope it's like, I hope it's not just like a quick in and out thing for Hugh Jackman and Wolverine. I don't think it will be, but you just never know with some movies. It's going to be crazy, but I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, we're going to see him in costume.
Yeah.
We're finally going to see him in costume. That's going to be I don't even have words for that. I'm literally just going to be so excited I won't be able to speak.
The man who never loses words lost words. So my goodness.
We'll be in the costume.
So good. So good. Well, I think this next story is in due fact because of the writer's strike.
Most likely.
So this makes sense. Dancing with the Stars, you guys remember, it did go strictly to Disney Plus. Well, it is coming back to ABC for its 32nd season. The move to bring reality competition series back to the broadcast network comes after the show aired, of course, just that one season on the streamer. For its upcoming season, though, it will air on ABC while also simultaneously airing on Disney Plus. In addition, the show will be available the day after on its linear debut on Hulu, which is also owned by Disney and Comcast. The move to bring the show back to the broadcast is not altogether a surprise, though, like I just said, because of the strike. They definitely made that decision very quick, though, because, it was like WGA goes on strike. Dancing with the Stars comes back to ABC. It was very interesting how fast they made that decision.
It is going to be very, very interesting. And I'm curious to see how it does now that Len Goodman, rest in peace, passed away. And, it's going to just be a whole different thing. I'm just not sure that one's going to survive like it had been in the past. I don't know. Sydney Chandler has been cast as the lead in Noah Hawley's Alien series, currently in the works at FX. Plot and character details are being kept under light wraps, or tight wraps, whichever you prefer,
either or,
on the project, which was first announced back in December of 2020. If you can believe it's been in development hell for that long. The only detail has been confirmed is that the show will take place on Earth in the not too distant future.
Bow, bow.
Wow. Well, that's a whole lot, right?
I know.
Can't wait for that.
That really gives you something to sink your teeth into. I don't know, man. This next one's interesting. Fox 911 is officially done. with the broadcaster at least, canceling the series after 6 seasons. However, the show will be moving to ABC for its 7th season. In addition, the sister series 911 Lone Star has been renewed for season 5 at Fox. Now, 911 was originally picked up at Fox when the network and the studio 20th Century Fox, 20th Century Television were part of the same company. But now everybody knows Disney acquired the studio back in 2019. And if you've been listening to the show, you know this. Fox no longer has the same kind of financial stake in the show as they once did, even though it is one of the most popular shows on the network. So tell me how that makes sense. But according to an individual with knowledge of the production, budgets on episodes of 911 are an excess of 9 million each episode, with that number having climbed since the show went on. Now, the show move comes from Murphy's overall deal with Netflix is due to expire in the upcoming months, and there has been widespread speculation that he could move back to his former home at 20th Television. So everything is all in speculation, but at least people are still going to be able to watch these two shows. It is kind of weird, though, with them being, relative shows that they're not going to be on the same network.
Yeah, because they've done crossovers in the past, and that's
Will that still be allowed? I wonder if that's.
I don't know. Would they, that we have been talking about it on shows previous with the Dick Wolf universe that they were trying to do an FBI crossover with the Law and Order crossover, and from NBC and CBS, and we have yet to still see that happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It doesn't look good, but I will say it'll be a huge win for Disney if they can bring Ryan Murphy back.
For sure.
I mean, he's a creator everybody wants to work with, and he puts out hits. And so it'll be nice to get them back.
Exactly.
Especially after losing Shonda to Netflix.
Facts.
So it would be great. All right, let's jump over to the bunny. So how has Zaslav's cuts been going? Has it been saving them money? Is it turning the ship around? It's all profit, baby. And Warner Brothers Discovery posted a first quarter loss this week. The owner of HBO, TNT, and the Discovery Channel said it lost $1.69 billion, including $1.81 billion of acquisition-related intangible assets and $95 million of pre-tax restructuring expenses. The company also indicated that the debt it took on to finance the merger was affecting its financials. Duh!
No shit.
Warner Brothers Discovery had $836 million of semi-annual interest payments, largely attributed to the merger-related debt that overwhelmed its cash flow. Now, the company reported a loss of $1.07 billion compared with a profit of $456 million in the year earlier period. So last year they had a profit, and after all those slashes and canceling of television shows and movies and trying to save money, they lost money.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, what the fuck? Now, on a positive note, executives took great pride in the company's ability to reserve losses in its streaming operations.
That'll be very interesting. I bet I'm trying to make a prediction, and you never know with this motherfucker. That's why it's so hard to make predictions on them.
I don't like him. He's a Chapek.
He's like, it's going to be very interesting because I would argue that they may see a profit in this next quarter due to the writer's strike and cutting more shows, because places like Warner Brothers Discovery right now are actually excited for this writer's strike because it shows what's popular and what's not. So they'll be able to cut more shit. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that moves forward.
I think they will see profits in certain divisions, but overall loss still. But I think the film division will see a profit because, like it or not, The Flash is going to do mega box office numbers, and they will see revenue off of that. So I think that they're, and then you've got Dune coming up, the sequel to Dune, which we're about to talk about. I think their film division will see gains, and I don't know about TV or whatever, but overall I think loss. But I do agree with you. I think certain divisions, because of the strike and because of the box office, will see gains. So.
Yeah, I really do think Flash is going to do well. I'm going to hold to strong. I wanted to talk about this a little bit too. I want to hold strong to not seeing Flash at the box office, but I will not hold it against you if you go see it at the box office, because I know how much they are turning it into a Batman film.
I'm not. Yeah, let's just clarify. I am not going to see The Flash at the box office. I am going to see my Batman at the box office. I am going to see Keaton. I couldn't give a fuck about Ezra Miller's Flash, but I am going to see my man return. And I probably wouldn't have gone to see that at the box office had they let it fucking happen in Batgirl like it was supposed to. But they didn't. So now I have to see my motherfucker in the box office because they might not bring him back after this one. So I got to see it. You should have just fucking kept Batgirl. I wouldn't have had to go see it. Did you see though? The production designer for The Flash says that it's so fucking good that he thinks people will forget all about Ezra Miller's legal and crazy troubles because it's that good they won't even think about it. You're hoping.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, layman people, aka normal people who don't pay attention to the entertainment industry, may not even know what's going on with that. So I feel like that is a huge advantage. And as we've all seen, and I don't think it's going to happen, he's not going to go out on the press tour. Michael Keaton is going to be the face of this thing. This is a Flash movie, but it's actually a Batman movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it's turned into.
Yeah, you're going to see Sasha Calle, Supergirl, and you're going to see Keaton's Batman, maybe even Affleck's Batman out there on the talk show circuit. If we have talk shows, they might still not even be on. I don't know how you're going to promote this shit because there's no place to promote it. But they're probably hoping for that. Holy shit. Is Zaslav behind the strike? He's like, guys, we don't need fucking talk shows to promote. We just got to keep this shit under and we're just going to put it out there. I'm kidding.
Hey, come on the show. You can promote it here. I'm just saying.
Yes, Mike. Come on, man. Who doesn't want to see Keaton on ITCAF? Let's go.
Exactly.
But all kidding aside, though, I think if they do resolve the strike and you do have the talk shows, I agree 1,000%. It's going to be Keaton. It's going to be Sasha Calle. It's going to be Ben Affleck. And very rarely, only at the last minute, maybe a quick snippet here or there, or maybe an appearance on the red carpet, will you see Ezra Miller. I think other than that, if you pay attention to all the marketing, all the trailers, all the posters, all the shit, it's all Keaton Batman focused. Yeah. And that's intentional. Yeah. Make no mistake about that. That is intentional.
Well, I think it's just going to be the red carpet. I don't think he's going to come out for press at all.
That'll be interesting, right?
That's just my opinion. But yeah, I just wanted to go on record and say, because people have been coming at us and being like, I remember when Dustin was going to talk about the Ezra Miller thing and release it as but listen, it's okay. It's fine. It's all good. But we just want to throw that out there. It's okay. But yeah, just wanted to,
yeah. I mean, I in part, I think they have kind of done the right thing by not promoting them. Yeah. Right. They're not promoting them. They're not. Like that was the thing, right? Do the right thing. Don't highlight him. Don't push him. Don't make it the stardom that they don't deserve at this point. And they're not. Yeah. They're promoting Keaton.
Exactly.
So I mean, so far so good. We'll see.
Good. Exactly. Well, more Warner Brothers and Legendary news. Of course, everybody has seen it. The Dune trailer for Part 2. Now, this trailer shows Timothée Chalamet's Paul riding back of a massive sandworm and the deserts of Arrakis with Zendaya's Shauna and Freeman, and the Freeman cheer him on. Now, there are also first looks at the bald Austin Butler, who does not look like fucking Elvis, and Fade Rutha Harkonnen, and the nephew of Stellan Skarsgård's Baron Harkonnen. And Florence Pugh's Princess Arlene, the daughter of Christopher Walken's Emperor Shaddam, the fifth, or whatever the fuck that Roman numeral is. The fourth. Like I said last week, I can't read Roman numerals. The trailer also teases the upcoming war with Paul, now with blue eyes, caused by consuming the Freeman's mystical spice drug, commanding the massive army. Dune Part 2 will hit theaters November 3rd, and it does look more action-packed, less slow than the first one. So that's what gets me excited for it. It makes me want to go back and watch the first one, but I just remember how fucking slow the first one was.
Took so long to get through, but it was a total setup for this one.
It was.
I am excited as hell for Christopher Walken's Emperor, though. That's going to be badass. I mean, it's going to be so unique because it's Christopher Walken. So, I mean, hey, Clint Eastwood's last film, that's the rumor. This one, and he's done. We'll see. Well, guess what? It's casting now. Zoe Deutsch is set to co-star in the Warner Brothers and Clint Eastwood pick Juror Number 2, starring Nicholas Hoult and Toni Collette. Jonathan Abrams penned the script. Adam Goodman, Matt Skiena, Tim Moore, and Jessica Meyer will produce. Now, this pick follows family man Justin Kemp, who, while serving as a juror in a high-profile murder trial, finds finds himself struggling with a serious moral dilemma, one he could use to sway the jury's verdict and potentially convict or free the wrong killer. The wrong killer. So are we giving it away already? Is the person on trial not even the right killer? Did we just blow that?
I mean, I know for a fact from what we know about this film, no one's gonna see it. Like, it's a very story-driven film. No one's gonna see it.
And it's going to be a great film.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be
Don't
great.
get me wrong, but I mean, no one's gonna see it.
Yes.
It's just that's the time we live in. We tweet about it. We talk about it all the time. But story-driven films like that, like we just saw The Covenant with Jake Gyllenhaal, fucking phenomenal film. But no one saw it.
Nope.
Well, episode 6 of Succession hit the series high for the 4th time in this season. Now, 2.7 million viewers, up 7% from the 2.6 million viewers who turned into episode 4 and 5. Season 4 debuted at then series high 2.3 million viewers before dipping to 2 million with episode 2 and jumping back up to 2.5 with episode 3. Then statistics are reported by Warner Brothers Discovery based on the combination of Nelson's measurings of linear airings and HBO and the first-party data regarding to streams on HBO Max. But I mean, we also know that Succession series finale will be about 90 minutes long, so be sure to strap in for that one. The series will be directed, or the episode will be directed by Succession episode producer Mark Malloy, and will air on Sunday, Memorial Day weekend, which is May 28th.
I hate that it's going off the air, but this season has been so fucking good, and I can't wait for that finale.
Yeah.
Hour and a half, it's going to be like a Succession movie. It's going to be a fucking movie, and I cannot wait. I'm so pumped. This one, I was kind of a fan of the show, but
it seems like one of those cult things.
It totally was. It totally was. A Babylon 5 animated movie is apparently in the works from original creator J. Michael Straczynski. Babylon 5 animated movie. That's what it's called. It's coming from Warner Brothers Animation and Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, Straczynski announced on Twitter. Classic B5, raucous, heartfelt, nonstop, a ton of fun through time and space, and a love letter to the fans. Okay.
All right.
Movie title, release date, and other details coming 1 week from the day that he announced it, which is next week. Straczynski further said that the film is already finished and in the can, and that it feels the most B5-ish of anything we've done since the original show.
Okay, cool.
Is it though?
It looks very interesting. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I've only seen like literally one picture, but it kind of looks like a ripoff of Star Trek. I mean,
it was a mix between like Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, okay.
So like that's what I always kind of thought of it.
Yeah.
Like just a mix between those two shows.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, it had some significant people on it. Bruce Boxleitner and Edward James Olmos. And like, I mean, it had some people on it, but
yeah, Well, heading over to Paramount, shares for Paramount Global tumbled as much as 25% earlier this week after the media conglomerate reported disappointing first quarter of 2023 results and slashed its dividend. Now, Paramount posted Q1 net loss of $1.12 billion as revenue of $7.27 billion was down 1%. And the shortfalls on its TV media and filmed entertainment units. Now, the top line numbers missed analyst estimates of $7.42 billion, while adjusted earnings per share of 9 cents also fell short of Wall Street's expectations. Now, the EPS of 17%. The company's streaming business, which includes Paramount Plus, Pluto TV, and a couple of others, also they saw a revenue rise 39% though. Now in the first quarter to 1.5 billion. However, the direct-to-consumer segment posted a loss of $511 million. Now growing at 12% compared to the year earlier period. Now, the company said Paramount Plus added 4.1 million subscribers this quarter. So, I mean, that's a positive thing, I guess. But when you see all of that, coming to a total to 60 million overall. According to the company, Paramount Plus subscriber growth was driven by a strong content slate, including originals like 1923, Tulsa King, and the returns of Mayor of Kingstown and Star Trek Picard. Now, along with films like Top Gun Maverick and Teen Wolf, the movie, as well as NFL playoffs, the Paramount CEO Bob Bakish said that the company is focused on continuing to drive market-leading streaming growth while navigating a dynamic microeconomic environment. So break that down for layman people.
Well, basically, what they're saying is they added subscribers and they saw revenue grow, but still lost money
Mm,
on the streaming side of it. Right. So, and that's something that Iger talked about way back when prior to launching Disney Plus. And what he was warning shareholders about is it's expensive as fuck to launch a streamer.
yeah.
So, even though they saw revenue increase, and that's obviously because they increased subscribers, they still lost money overall on the streaming side of it because of costs. And that's where it's starting to get tricky with the strike, right? It all plays back to the strike. The writers are demanding better residuals from streaming shows, but the studios are claiming, as we're seeing, that they're losing money off of the streamers. They're still not yet profitable. And there's the argument.
Yeah.
We want more money because these shows are huge hits. Well, we're not making any money, so you can't have it. And that's the back and forth. And I think, unfortunately, that's going to be keeping going for quite a while. Like I said, Iger laid it out pretty specifically before Disney Plus launch. This is going to take a decade or more before we become profitable.
Yep.
No matter how many subscribers we add, no matter how much content we see, unless we go full ad driven, this will take a decade or more before we see money.
Yeah.
And that's just
Yeah, because I mean, you're basically creating a whole new division in your company. You're creating a whole new product, basically, that's not cheap, and it's just, yeah, it's very interesting to see how this whole industry is shifting. So this strike was kind of inevitable.
Oh, yeah, without doubt, without doubt. Oh, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
It's going to be ugly for many months to come, I think. Pedro Pascal is the latest A-lister in talks, apparently, to join Ridley Scott's upcoming Gladiator sequel. Pascal, who stars, of course, in both The Mandalorian and The Last of Us, is in final negotiations to board the Paramount movie, which already boasts a cast, including, if you guys can believe this, Academy Award nominee Paul Mescal and Barry Keoghan, as well as two-time Academy Award winner Denzel Washington. Now, the Paramount movie follows 2000's blockbuster hit Gladiator, which was nominated for 12 Academy Awards and won 5, including Best Picture. It earned $460 million at the box office. So,
are you not entertained? I mean, that's all I'm asking. Because I feel like, Pedro Pascal, I hope he's a main character, like, because he's so freaking good. And that, like, his performance in Game of Thrones, which was like kind of like, medieval, but that type of role, I guess you could say, very period piece. It was just, everything he does right now is just blowing it out of the water. So I feel like it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited for this thing.
Me too. And I personally hope he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see Pedro play a badass, right? I mean, I know Wonder Woman 1984, but come on, he was kind of a joke in that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see him play a legit badass bad guy. That would be awesome.
It really would. It really would. Well, Yellowstone is officially coming to an end, everybody. With the final episodes of the mega hit Paramount Network series, 5th season set to launch in November. In addition, the untitled sequel series has been ordered and will debut on Paramount Network and Paramount Plus in December. Exact plot and casting details of the sequel series are currently under wraps, though, but it is previously been reported that Matthew McConaughey was in talks to star in the new show. Now, the sequel series not only allows Paramount and Sheridan to bypass any potential issues with the one and only Costner, but it allows them to stream a new series featuring the most of the original characters from Yellowstone. Now, David Glasser, CEO of 101 Studios, said, quote, "The Dutton story continues picking up where Yellowstone leaves off in another epic tale. We are thrilled to bring this new journey to audiences around the world." Now, that it sucks, man, because the Dutton family ranch, like, I mean, it was just it's such a huge cult phenomena, I feel like, and it sucks to see it go out, I feel like, before it's supposed to, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Costner, in my opinion, is burning bridges, and good luck. I mean, I hope your movie is a massive success for you, because if it's not, you're not coming back here.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful. I mean, kudos to Taylor Sheridan in this show for, in my opinion, making a resurgence for Costner's career. And he should be grateful for that. And I just think, but anyway, if you guys are with me, I think I have theories of where I think it's going. You guys know, before this crazy hiatus, and finally, thank God, we're getting the rest of season 5, but Jamie was plotting to kill Daddy, and